Hi YouTube, this is Woodworker Royer, and I'm back for another video. And today, or this minute of today, because this is about the third or fourth video I've filmed today, I'm going to be talking about kind of air connections and fittings and hoses. And I'm going to be right back. I'm going to grab something. So, probably you have an air compressor or you've seen an air compressor, and if you're like me, you've had a couple, you know the drill. You go down to Walmart and you need an air compressor, you need a new tool, and so you think, oh, I'll go down to Walmart and I'll grab an air compressor. Go down there, grab one. They have the one that's 150, but you don't really want that. You don't need something that big. You're just going to be airing up some tires or, doing something easy like a brad nailer, pin nailer, that kind of thing. You don't need something that big, so you get the 1 gallon. You get it home, you set it up loud enough, you lose several frequencies of your hearing, and then after your wife yells at you a couple times to get something quieter, you end up like me with a quieter air compressor, the one that's actually, they call it the silent air. It's an Emax company by whatever, Hulk Power, by Emax, and it works great. 6 gallon, 1 horsepower, whatever. That's not what I'm here for. If you want to see that video, I actually do have it up on the channel, I believe. Anyway, what I don't have on the channel yet is this, and today we're going to be talking about air hoses. I have 3. I had this one for my 1 gallon, little Campbell Housefield junk air compressor that was $60 at Walmart. I didn't buy that. I would have gotten like a 10 gallon from Harbor Freight, but my dad bought it for some reason. I have no idea. He wouldn't let me buy one, and he went and bought one. So anyway, when I was about 13 or something. But anyway, so it came with the whole kit. All you need to do nothing, because that's about as much as that thing can do. It could run a nailer, stapler, inflate a tire eventually, and all with a convenient hose that extends to about 5 feet before it literally pulled the air compressor over, because it wants to, it's a spring and it wants to go back to normal. So I actually upgraded this to a swivel connector, and a universal. Not that you can really read that, but just at some point there, maybe you can see it. It says 1/4 inch U, which is universal. Which means it can take the IM. I think it's the IM fittings, the industrial Milton fitting, I think, and maybe automotive. I don't remember what. I think it's industrial and automotive it can take. But anyway, it can take like 2 or 3 different types of like fitting plugs. And so that is what I have set up here. This is junk. This is PVC, I think. Probably so cheap it doesn't even tell. Do not exceed 200 psi. Don't know why you'd be using this with that powerful of an air compressor, but it'd be kind of a fun video. A $5 hose explodes and ruins a $500 air compressor. Anyway, somehow, don't know how that would work, but whatever. So that is this. I didn't really like it. This will work. I may even keep it, but I just upgraded to the new air compressor that's quiet, so I probably won't keep this because I actually have a better hose. So we're gonna toss that over there, and in comes the hose that I was gonna use. I was gonna get a full 50 foot of this, cut it down, and do all that stuff with the fittings. However, it seems that Home Depot does not even carry half-inch air compressor hose. I don't know why. They don't have it online. Don't really get that. Maybe they have a Flexzilla one. I don't remember. Did a bunch of research and stuff. And it basically turns out that, lo and behold, the bigger diameter that you have on an air hose, the less friction there is for the air that's going through it. Even if you don't use that, even if you have a smaller air fitting, from what I understand, a bigger hose means that there's less friction and whatever. It's more efficient. So this was going to be a hose, a whip, to go from my air compressor to the FRL that I have, the filter regulator lubricator, and then from there I was going to have my actual hose, which was also going to be half-inch. This didn't come in until today, and the other hose came in already. It was 50 feet, so I just cut off 2 feet of that, built my own whip. I didn't know when this was actually going to get here. It wasn't expected until like 2 days from today. So anyway, decided not to do this. Also, they don't sell the fittings for half-inch hoses either, so I was pretty much up a creek. I would have not been able to do anything with this. So this is out. I mean, it was only $7 for a 3-foot whip, so not bad pricing wise. I'll keep it and maybe use it in the future for something. But this is like the kind of industry standard rubber hose. It's kink resistant. Like, you can do this with it and it won't kink. I mean, that's a pretty good thing. It's kind of starting, but then it kind of goes right back, and it's fine. So the main thing that I found, and I'm actually going to go here and grab another thing. The main thing that I have found is, with researching these things, because I love researching things. Maybe it's a symptom of my being a history major, or maybe I'm a history major because this is something I like doing. Regardless, excuse me. I like researching things. So I was researching the daylights out of air hoses and air compressors and all this stuff. I find the air compressor I want, and then I started looking at hoses, because you have to have the best accessories to go with the best air compressor. And I'm looking all over the place. I was on Lumberjocks, which is this great forum that I'm totally not affiliated with, but it's on the internet and I'm a member. But asking those guys, what kind of hose and fittings, and what size and all this stuff, what do I need? Pretty much unanimously, everybody said either rubber hose or the Flexzilla. There were one or two guys on a couple YouTube videos, or maybe somebody on there too, saying that the polyurethane or the PVC hoses are good for some circumstances. They're better than the rubber or the Flexzilla for certain things. In general, the rubber and the Flexzilla are the best. Pretty much everybody agrees on that. The Flexzilla is lighter. It may or may not be more flexible. But it is more expensive than the rubber, which the rubber for 50 feet of 3/8" hose I ended up getting for like $28 or $30, which I felt was really, really reasonable. But anyway, they were saying like PVC or the polyurethane is better if you're using you know, if you're like a roofer or something, you need to drag it over things. It'll go over corners better. It won't get caught on things as much and whatever. But it has more memory, and it's kind of a trade-off. If you get an air compressor, you're gonna have to kind of do the research a little bit yourself to see what your use case is and what is best for that use case. If you're like me in a shop, you've literally got like maybe a 5-foot run from where you are to where you're going to be working on things. I'd go with rubber. Anyway, that's kind of beside the point, out of the scope of this video. So I picked rubber. I ended up getting 3/8 because that was what was easy. That's the inner diameter of the hose, not the outside of the diameter the outside diameter is totally unrelated to the inside diameter. I mean, it's going to be bigger than 3/8, but it could be 1/2 inch, it could be 5/8, whatever. It's not really measured. But what is measured, and what I figured out that I did not see anywhere else, is the fittings. Obviously there's a lot of stuff on fittings. You can find all kinds of videos. There was a really good video by some supply house like Granger or something. It was out of Canada. He did a really good job of explaining different fittings and stuff, which this isn't. This is just a double barb repair. It's a fitting. It's a repair fitting. But anyway, they did a very good job of explaining the different types of fittings and how much airflow can go through them theoretically, because it won't work that way all the time, but theoretically it can have this much airflow or this. So based on that video, based on the forum, I picked the Milton V style fittings, which you can get in brass or steel, or the Harbor Freight high flow. Or this Harbor Freight. This stands for high flow. These are from, I think they're Husky brand. They're from Home Depot. You can get them from Harbor Freight too. The main claim to fame with these is that they are aluminum. And from what I've heard people talk about, aluminum is not good. And the reason is, this is one of the reasons I did not get a Flexzilla hose. Their fittings, the ends on their hoses and everything, are aluminum. This is aluminum. The problem with this, while it's light, is you've got a 4 or 5 pound tool on the end of that. If you're using an impact wrench with an impact socket of any size, that thing is stinking heavy. It weighs a pound itself, just for the socket. Not to mention the impact wrench, which is another, 4 or 5. So weight isn't really that big of an issue. This brass weighs about twice or 3 times as much as this does. But it's still like an ounce or two. You're not climbing Mount Everest with these things. If you are, then you're probably not using any of the normal things, and you won't be watching this video if you're climbing Mount Everest to use an air compressor. Although I would watch your video if you did that. That would be very interesting. But anyway, so I decided on a high flow. Now, when I was looking at these, this does go all the way through. You just can't see it because my workbench down here is absolutely filthy. When I was looking at these, I figured out that, believe it or not, a 1/4 inch. Now this is 1/4 inch NPT National Pipe Thread size, and this is the standard that I'm using in my shop. I wanted to use 3/8, but again, Home Depot doesn't carry that, at least not in my area. I don't even know if they carry it online. Obviously there's, Amazon, there's eBay, there's, an actual supply house. I suppose I could have gone down there. There's a Granger about 15 miles from me, but I didn't want to do that because Home Depot's literally 5 blocks from my house. And I used to work there, so I kind of like going in there and, chatting it up with the guys. But anyway, I'm sure their manager loves me, but I don't work there anymore, so I don't have to worry about it. Anyway, So this is 1/4 inch NPT. Now, if you look at this, this has absolutely nothing to do with 1/4 inch. I don't know where they got that. This is in millimeters. That's very helpful. Very, very helpful. If you look at this, this is out there. If I turn on the other light, maybe that helps. I don't know if that helps or not, but anyway, out there. This is not a 1/4 inch. I don't know where the whole 1/4 inch thing comes from. Maybe it's a 1/4 inch over 12 inches or something. I don't know what. If you want to know what that is, you need to go to another channel because I don't have any idea. Clearly that is not 0.25, which is what a 1/4 inch is. This is 0.5, which is what a 1/2 inch is. So again, I don't know where the 1/4 inch thing comes from. But it's a plumbing thing, so maybe that's got something to do with it. Anyway, totally went down a rabbit trail there, and I don't remember where I was going with this, but that's a 1/4 inch NPT. If you notice, this here is 1/2 inch NPT, and it just dwarfs this little tiny thing. This just out of curiosity, I'm kind of curious what this is actually. That's 0.8, so it's more than 3/4 of an inch. So anyway, totally unrelated. But that's the standard that I figured out, because I can get these. I got these on Amazon, but I can get these, which are also 1/4 inch NPT. That's the standard fitting that goes onto your into your air compressor, onto the hose. That's just the standard. I don't know why they figured out that was the standard, but that is. So anyway, I got these, and I figured because I can get it in my town right beside my house practically, that I would just settle on that. It's going to be good enough for what I use. Now, as far as what the fitting is itself, I have color coded here so that I don't get confused. Oh great, where did my pointer go? Here it is. Blending in with all the other orange things. Like, if you look at my thing, I've got orange. I've got an orange magazine. I've got this. I've got wood that looks orange. I've got a battery over here. Everything is orange in here, so you can kind of understand why I had to sit there and look around. I mean, I've even got orange pencils, for crying out loud. I mean, I worked at a store that was orange. I mean, if you're a psychology student, maybe you can explain this in the comments, why orange is apparently so attractive to me. But anyway, so back to the fittings here. This here is a 1/4 inch NPT IM fitting. I don't know what that stands for. I know the I is industrial. I don't know if M is Milton, which is not the brand. It may have been the brand that originally came up with the industrial thing. I don't know. But that's what they call this. This is an industrial fitting. And this is pretty much the smallest bore right here. This is pretty much the smallest bore of any of the fittings. There are literally somewhere around a dozen or 24 different types of fittings, and this is the smallest, most restrictive one. Guess which one is the most sold and the most used? Surprise, surprise. This is, if you get an air compressor, this is what is going to come with the little cheapo kit that comes with it. Unless you get like a really expensive one or something like that, and then in which case they probably want to give you a kit because you are clearly loaded and you can afford to buy one yourself. And you probably already have other tools you want to get the same fittings you already have. So I didn't want these. I was talking to people, whatever, they said you don't want this because it will restrict the flow of air to air tools. Now, this is fine for Um, uh, um, nailers. This is fine for nailers. This is okay for airing up a tire. At that point, you kind of want more flow anyway, but it's fine for nailers. It's fine for staple guns. Anything like that. Even a blower. Just to blow off your lawnmower, your workbench, or whatever, that kind of thing, to get the dust off. This is fine. However, this only allows about 35 or 39 CFM through it. Now, as far as I can tell, 39 CFM is way, way more than you're going to get if you're watching this video and you're learning anything from this video. 39 CFM is way more than any air compressor that you have. You're going to be spending thousands of dollars on the air compressor alone before you're ever going to get one with anywhere near 35 CFM or 39 CFM. That number, I believe they get in theory. There's some sort of a mathematical rigmarole stuff that they get that somehow 39 CFM at some pressure will go through this hole, which, by the way, is, we're going to do this in millimeters so that no, we're going to do it in fractions of inches because we're in America. Yeah, this is 25 1/28, or in millimeters, we've got 4.87. And we're going to use millimeters because I can. Even though I just said we weren't gonna, it's easier to remember that than it is to remember fractions. I will give the French that. Anyway, so 4.88, 4.85, it's somewhere in there. We're gonna call it 4.87. And I'm gonna find something to write that down on so I can remember it, because I won't use the back of this magazine. Okay, so in my horrible handwriting, that is 4.87. And I'm not going to put the millimeters down there because I'm not in math class. I remember what units I'm using, Mr. Teacher. So that's this thing. Somewhere around 35, 39 CFM go through there. I don't remember exactly what they rate it for. There's no way that goes through here in reality. So what I've decided is I wasn't going to use these. I didn't want them. Toss that over there. This is a Milton V style fitting. It is a high flow fitting. It is much identical to this because these guys, the patent ran out on the V style, and apparently they can just do whatever they want to do now. Or they pay them. I don't know exactly how this works, but basically you can buy this or this. They're about the same price. It costs more because it's high flow, but you can get it at Home Depot, and it has a Husky brand on it instead of Milton, which actually doesn't have any label on it at all, which I think is really stupid, but that's another can of worms altogether. These have the same size fitting nipple here, the 1/4 inch MPT. Again, has nothing to do with 1/4 inch that I can tell. At least not in the actual measurement of the fitting itself. Seems like it's the angle, has to do with the angle of the thing or something. But that's really got nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. This is huge compared to that. I mean, just look at the difference there. This is rated at 74 CFM. Remember, this one's like 35 or 39. This is almost double that, or is double that actually. If this is 34 or 35, this is 74. It's double that volume that can go through this. It has a bore diameter of 6.8285. So almost 2 millimeters more bore diameter than this. Now, we're going to write that down. 6.85. That's a V style. So we've got over here 6.85 and 4.87. We're not going to be doing any math. I'm just writing it down so we can remember the numbers. Because I've never seen anything about actually measuring these together. So remember how I said earlier that I was going to use 3/8 inch air hose? I just so happen to have a 25-foot-ish, because I made it myself, but whatever, I didn't measure it. 25-foot 3/8 inch air hose. It has a barb inside here and a little clampy thing, and this, and a high flow thing, because that's also aluminum. It's more breakable and whatever than the brass or the steel. It doesn't rust like the steel does, but it's lighter than both of them. Anyway, this that I was playing with earlier in the video is a repair, an inline repair. So if this got split or cut or whatever, you'd shove this in one end and then shove it in the other one, and add a couple clamps, preferably before you put this in here, because it's going to be hard to get the clamps on afterwards. Anyway, you put this on there, and it will heal the hose so that it doesn't leak anymore. You can fix the leak or whatever. You don't have to throw out a whole $15 worth of hose. However, remember these numbers over here, the 4.87 and the 6.85, that kind of thing? Let's look at the inner diameter of this, because there was a video that I saw that said the solution to that little tiny hole is to get a 3/8 size fitting, because these come in 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, 3/4. I don't know what all sizes. They've got different sizes hose, and they've got different size fittings. The pipe threads are different sizes. And so the guy said, well, to get more flow out of the thing, all you have to do is get a bigger size. And this, which, if this is bigger, then they make this part bigger. In general, you could probably get them with smaller, but we're going to ignore that. Basically said, instead of getting the 1/4 inch industrial fitting, get the 3/8 inch industrial fitting. It has a bigger hole. That's great. I couldn't find it for the life of me. At Home Depot, for sure. I might have looked someplace else or whatever. Couldn't find it. Milton was around the same price as that was going to be. And so I didn't want to mess with all that. So I ended up getting, sticking with a 1/4 inch. However, I looked at the sizing of the 3/8 inch industrial thing, and it's somewhere like this allows like 35 or 39 CFM. I think it's 35. The 3/8 version of this is 1/4 inch. The 3/8 version allows like 40 or 42. It's not that much different, and it's certainly not double. So I'm thinking, what on earth? What's the deal here? That somehow, and by the way, I looked. They make the Milton V style fitting not only in 1/4 inch like this, but also in a 3/8 inch. They don't make a 1/2 inch, but they do make a 3/8 inch. I looked at theirs, at the 3/8 inch, and it was like, why is this rated at 1/4 inch? Why is this rated at 74, and the 3/8 is rated at 74 too? Why is that? Like, did they make a typo? Are they wanting to market this one because they can get more money out of it compared to the 3/8? What is going on? Here's the thing that's going on. They can make this bigger. If they make this 3/8, they can make this bigger. However, it doesn't matter at that point, because if I repair that 3/8 inch hose, this is the line that I'm going to be using. So that 3/8" fitting, and this is, by the way, this is the smallest part of this fitting. This hole is bigger than this one. In fact, you can even see the little step in there. But let's measure this little fitting, this repair thing, which is really thin if you look at it. It's not very thick at all. Measure the inside of that, and we see 7.07. Now remember, this narrowest part was 6.85. So at best, you're going to be getting approximately 21, 22. You're going to be getting 22 hundredths of a millimeter more flow through this repair for 3/8 line than you are from this V style or the 3/8, because it's the same bore diameter as far as I could tell. I didn't get the 3/8 to actually test that theory, but I'm pretty sure. It's rated at the same rating, so I don't know why it would be a different bore diameter. Anyway, doesn't matter. Even if I got the bigger one, this isn't going to make hardly any difference, because that 7.7 or 7.07, not even 7.7, 7.07 for this barb won't let hardly any more air through than this. So this is the mystery solved as to why a 1/4" Milton V style has the same flow as a 3/8 Milton V style, which unfortunately I don't have an example of. But if that helped you guys, I hope it did. If that helped you guys, leave a comment down below. I obviously picked the 1/4" Milton V style because it has the most flow for the normal stuff that I can buy. They don't offer this in Home Depot. I had to get this at Harbor Freight, but they do offer their version of the high flow, and all the high flow is anywhere other than Milton is a Milton thing that the patent expired on, or they just bought the rights to, or whatever. But I hope this helped you guys. Again, these industrial style fittings, they look almost exactly alike. They're obviously it's bigger diameter, but the profile looks pretty much the same. These will work for a nailer, not necessarily a roofing or a framing, or I'm trying to think if there's another nailer that you go really fast,